This is MLB The Show 23. We're here on Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So, what do we have here on the third year iteration of MLB The Show on the Xbox Series S? Well, it's 1080p, 60 FPS, there's HDR support, there is crossplay, there are various features in regards to the multiplayer where you're able to enjoy a plethora of ways as you compete and play against others within the show. So, obviously, this is a bit of a drop down from the full resolution of the Series X, but it's still a pretty good looking game in regards to the visual fidelity and the performance of the overall experience. So, I would say, this year they definitely play it a little bit safer in regards to new features and stuff, but it's still at its core, a great baseball simulation that is something that is easily accessible for those that are new to the sport and also intensive for those that are really, well, passionate about MLB baseball and the sport in general. So you can enjoy local multiplayer up to 4 players. You can enjoy online multiplayer up to 8 players. It's got a whole range of different ways to experience the sport across a plethora of modes. And yeah, it's just a very complete, expansive offering with many ways to play it and many ways to enjoy what it has to offer. So, just to start off, we've got Exhibition, we've got Challenge of the Week, we've got Moments, which kind of take key moments of baseball that are going on, whether that's from a historical standpoint or something like, that's going on at the moment that kind of pops up, so that's cool that they want to do. There's Home Run Derby, there's Retro Mode, which is like a throwback baseball mode. There's me showing off the Blue Jays arena because I neglected to do that on my Series X review and someone called me out for it, which is funny because I always show off the Yankees versus the Blue Jays playing at the Toronto Stadium. Or yeah, anyways. So that's always something I do, and it was just kind of funny how they called me out for it. I didn't even think of it, but yeah, no, that was something. So there's also online modes for multiplayer action, online co-op, there's postseason, there's custom leagues, there's custom practice mode that's been kind of advanced a bit. There's franchise, there's Diamond Dynasty, which is, those cards, because every self-respecting, sports game has to have its dynamic card mode. There's also the Road to the Show, where you're trying to make your way to the big show. There's March to October. And there's also a really cool sort of Storylines League, which is a celebration of a cultural history within the sport that's very cool and very interesting if you want to learn about some legends. Speaking of legends, there's 25 new legends joining a roster of over 180 available legends and iconic players within the game. So franchise March to October have a redone draft mode and advanced strategy and depth to them. These are the new features in case you're wondering in regards to what's changed. That's kind of what we're getting to now. The new MLB postseason format schedule and CBA updates are present. There's the Diamond Dynasty card sets and seasons that are now present in regards to limiting what kind of cards you can use. So they're now creating a more dynamic system where it's like, there's certain situations where certain cards are kind of like locked, and it's just to create an extra element of, kind of play. Oh, we didn't get the third? Oh, that sucks. I was hoping we get that third run in there. But yeah, anyways, so that's kind of present. It's just a more dynamic, extra sort of tedious element to your card collecting and card play. I mean, some people would probably really like that, right? I mean, I think that's actually one of the bigger changes to the traditional play is like that whole adjustment to the card game, Because it may not seem like a big deal to some people that, just go in here and they play baseball, or they just go in and they do seasons and whatnot. But if you are someone that does do the Diamond Dynasty, obviously that is a colossal change to, how you experience the game. It's a big adjustment. It really is. Like, it limits and creates like sets of where your cards can kind of, place in. That's wild. So they've also done things like fielding adjustments, throwing interface adjustments. There's now quirks, the breaker outlier, the pickoff artist. So these are the quirks for kind of the fielding adjustments. There is the offensive adjustments too. So the offensive clutch attribute has been changed a bit. They got bad ball hitter, and they have table setter quirks for that. There's also something like 5,000 new animations that have been added. More dynamic elements in regards to how the characters sort of respond and react and move, and, some more realistic take on the experience of baseball, which is kind of what you expect. So, as I always say when you dive into the show and the sport itself, MLB The Show is like the defining baseball game. It's well polished, it offers a lot of different modes and ways for you to play and experience what it has to offer. It's very well done. You've got online integrations, you've got multiplayer that's competitive or cooperative. You've got local action. You've got playing by yourself if you'd like to across a huge range of modes. And yet again, I kind of sit here and I'm like, it's a pretty great experience, and I struggle to really think of what else. Wow, I can't believe you actually got that. I struggle to think of what else they could really add to the game. And, don't mistake that as necessarily thinking this is, like, perfect, but it is pretty well-rounded. It is, like, a full baseball experience. This version does feel, like I kind of mentioned, a bit iterative in comparison to, the previous years, and it does feel like it's just kind of building upon what we had in the past, but, it's still a very well-done baseball game, and like I said, and I'm definitely open to suggestions on what people think they could add, but I don't really know what other modes you get other than maybe some more in-depth story type stuff, custom character-wise. I don't know. As in, like, more in-depth with that option, but, like, it's it's a full sports game. They do a very, very good job of it. They offer a wide range of arenas. There's custom arenas. There's a whole custom creation suite of things with sharing options, and you can really make your own stuff in this game, which is wild, and it's very in-depth. And again, I think the Field of Dreams is gone from this version of the game, so that's a bit weird, but I remember that being in there last year. I couldn't find it this year, unless I've somehow missed it or something. But yeah, you get, like, historical areas and stadiums, you get classic ones, you get, the ballparks are captured pretty realistically. They've all got their weird quirks and hilarious little things to them that would be distinct depending on where you go and, experience baseball. It's the full game, the seasons, the playoffs, the action, the grippingness, it's all here. And now on the Series S, obviously, this is a bit of a dip in the visual fidelity from the Series X. A lot murkier, the quality of, like, the crowd is down quite a bit. It's definitely a lot more jagged around the edges in regards to the players. I do notice some weird kind of, like, image flashing on some of the grass sequences, which is a bit odd, and some clipping stuff. But, they're kind of like small things. Like, at the end of the day, you've got the full baseball experience. It looks good, it runs well, it's something you can put countless hours into if you're really intensive about, baseball action. He's really, really taking his time there. It's just got a plethora of things that you can experience, and I don't think there's really a whole lot out there that really, well, there's no competition to this at all. But at the same time, even with that, it is still the baseball game. It's It's got legacy to it. It's got quite a few years now actually going on the Xbox side of things, which is wild to think about that that much time has passed, that we're actually like a few years in and enjoying, this kind of mode. I think that's, or this type of game. I think that's great. It's nice to have a baseball game again on the Xbox side of things. And the show is like a top tier baseball game to actually get and enjoy. Hence the whole, like, kind of sitting here being like, well, it's kind of what we basically played last year, and, the rosters are updated and whatnot, but, it is a well-rounded game, and they have polished and tweaked some things, and they've made some meaningful adjustments here or there. And I'm kind of like, well, they could do this, they could do that, but at the end of the day, it's MLB The Show. It nails baseball, it simulates it, and it's something that's like, intense for the people that are like really, really into it. But it's also kind of like quite casual if you have no idea what's going on in baseball and stuff like that. So I think it kind of hits for everyone, really. And they have just a ridiculous quantity of like difficulty options that you can choose from, like an absolutely ridiculous selection. So it's not like you're gonna have any like kind of problems going on in regards to learning how to play. And I mean, baseball is really easy to learn too, right? I mean, it's literally just like batting and catching and pitching and everything like that. So it's yeah. I mean, I don't think it's too hard to get into. I think you can have a lot of fun playing. I think you can enjoy the plethora of different modes, find something for you, whether you're doing quick exhibition matches, whether you are doing seasonal things, whether you're doing like the classic throwback, old school sort of retro mode, which is fun, or maybe you're really into the card game, which honestly, it's like a simple line to say, but having like preset is that actually no, that's going to be a catch. Having those preset sort of like limitations on cards is really, really going to change Diamond Dynasty up a lot. I think that's probably one of the biggest changes, and it sounds silly to somebody that doesn't, you know, dive into that mode. But I think for those that do play Diamond Dynasty, it's a lot of like thinking about how that's going to change up how you play, how you interact, how you compete with others. It's it's a big deal at the end of the day for that sort of mode. So that's something to keep in mind there. But yeah, everything's back from last year. Don't really see anything that's been, impacted in any sort of like negative way. It's all pretty straightforward, carried through, and ready to go, and speedy and fun, and you get to enjoy all the customization stuff. You get to enjoy all the good action. You get to enjoy the players. Yeah, I mean, it's MLB The Show 23, ready and roaring, offering something that's fun, intuitive, gives you stats for how well you're, batting, you're pitching. It gives you the full in-depth layout of everything. It lets you have some fun. It lets you have a bit of challenge if you want it. And I really don't know what else we could really expect out of MLB The Show at this point. I'm, again, open to suggestions. I love to think of things that could be like, sort of weird modes or something that could be added, but I think they get the hardcore simulation stuff, they get the casual fun stuff. It can be as extreme and intense as you want it to be, and that level of choice is really nice. And it's fun to play. At the end of the day, if you like baseball, it's pretty good going. If you want to learn about baseball, it's a pretty good way to learn. And if you're kind of just wanting to continue enjoying the magic of the sport, I think this is a nice companion to it, and I think they nail it with MLB The Show 23. Very great, well-rounded experience that delivers on basically all fronts, and on the Series S, it's a pretty good offering as well. That's what I'm talking about, right? I don't know how much that shows up on the YouTube, but the grass looks, it's got like this really weird sort of like flashing to it. It, yeah, that really stands out to me. I don't know why that is. And again, like there's some clipping stuff too that I don't remember being in last year's version on like certain characters and stuff. It's a bit odd. I don't know why that stuff sticks out to me. It's not like I literally feel like I nitpick when I'm like sort of you know what I mean? Like talking about that kind of thing, because at the end of the day, it's so like kind of doesn't matter at all, but it is something to like mention. I'm sure they could like probably patch it out if they want to pretty easily, but maybe we should get something that's actually got like a sky to it. Yeah, let's go there. And yeah, so we'll just continue with some, non-commentary gameplay just so you can see more of it in action if you're kind of curious about regular gameplay. But I've given all the details. I think I've covered it well. And I would imagine we'll be back again next year for MLB The Show. But for now, jump in, have fun with baseball, and enjoy what this year's iteration has to offer, which is, again, a very great, well-rounded sporting title.
Here in Washington, D.C., glad you're with us. Stepping in is the switch hitting shortstop, Tommy Edman. The wind and the pitch. Ground ball up the middle. That's a base hit.
Went up there looking to be aggressive and got something he could handle. Just kept it simple. Played pepper with the middle of the infield and took it back where it came from. And there was just no one there to knock it down. And now they've got some speed on first. So we'll see if they try to get him into motion.
Edman on at first. Nobody out. Comes up empty on the swing. 0-2 now.
That looked like a case of deciding to swing no matter what. That pitch was way up. Nice job of the pitcher knowing that this hitter's looking for something up that he can drive, but he just expanded the zone to his advantage.
And here it comes. Grounder might be 2. On to second. They get 1. On to first. Double play.
The first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt.
2 outs, base is empty. And here's the first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt. Right side. Diaz steps on the bag, and that is that. No score as we head to the bottom of the first. Ready to go for the last half of the inning. Now up for Tampa Bay, Yandy Diaz. The wind to kick the pitch. And a foul ball. Adam Wainwright, for all the accolades, multiple All-Star games, multiple Gold Gloves. He may have the title as one of the best pitchers to never win a Cy Young award. And, of course, there's that curveball. Got him swinging. Snuck the fastball by him.
Thought it was a pretty good pitch. Top of the strike zone. We're seeing more fastballs in that location. Hitters, especially with 2 strikes, have to be ready to pull the trigger.
Donovan right there to make the grab. 2 away now.
Batting third.
Now it's Randy Arozarena. First pitch doesn't find the zone.
Yeah, and he is the Uncle Charlie of this era. Guy's just got a phenomenal one. It seems like he has gotten better as he has aged. More finesse, ability to move his pitches around. And boy, the combination between Wainwright and Yadier Molina, historic.
Next offering is in for a strike. Singy, here's an Adam Wainwright nugget. He's faced every team in the majors except the St. Louis Cardinals. Got him swinging. Rays go in order. 1, 2, 3. Back in Washington, D.C. Top of the second. Here's Nolan Arenado. And a pitch. Out to short. And they get Arenado for the out.
The catcher, number 40.
Wilson Contreras now up to the plate. This guy has turned into one of the best catchers in the game, but was originally signed by the Cubs as an infielder. That one is absolutely belted way back there. And it's off the wall. Into second with a double, and they've got something brewing now.
Well, clearly he was ready to hit right there. Against good pitchers, you've got to take advantage of the mistakes. That was right in his wheelhouse, and he didn't miss a stitch. Runner in scoring position now, and a good opportunity to push across the first run of the ballgame.
Next pitch is popped up. Loud makes the catch, and there are 2 outs.
Well, off to a great start. He's really cruising out there on the mound. He's got a chance to get through these first 2 innings with under 20 pitches. That could set him up to go deep into this game.
And now the right fielder, Lars Nootbaar. Ripped on a line. Margot makes the catch, and that'll do it. The Cards leave one.